Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I'm always looking out for scams that I can talk to you about. Hopefully, you can avoid them if you hear about them. And somebody passed along to me one that was publicized on the CBC. This is a couple years ago, but it's a common type scam, and it's a variation on one that's extremely common. So you should know about this. And again, these are hopefully things that if you hear about them once, if they were to happen to you, you'd spot it a little bit sooner and avoid getting ripped off. But this is a story out of the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Wallace Snowden wrote the article, and Wallace is a woman, Wallis, Wallace. And the headline is, "Can you hear me now? New phone scam tricks you into answering yes." And the trick is that they are calling you, pretending that somehow there's some bad connection, and they're trying to get you to say the word yes out loud, because if you do, they got you. So the Better Business Bureau warns if you don't recognize a number calling you, don't answer, which is probably good advice. Well, it's a difficult thing to do, but it's becoming more and more obvious with all the junk phone calls we all get. The other day, I got 4 in a row from different scam companies. Boom, 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 boom. You know, it's right in a row. That's how I started my Monday morning. And this is my business phone. So Canadians, but Americans also, are being warned to watch out for the phone scam that uses audio recordings to dupe unwitting consumers out of their money. Here's what we do. The new scam relies on your voice, and they're asking you to answer a simple question. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? The scammers are trying to trick you into saying the word yes out loud. You might say, why would they do that? Well, anti-fraud agencies say that simple acknowledgement can be used to make it sound as if you agreed to purchase something. And, you know, a lot of times if you are involved in a purchase over the phone with a legitimate company, after you've agreed to something, you'll often say, okay, we need to record your voice now, and we're going to ask you the question, did you agree to buy these goods or services? And I've had them do that before. And so theoretically, somewhere down the road, if you were to say, I don't remember doing that, they could play back the question and answer where they said, do you agree to buy these services or these goods? And you'd say yes. And they go, oh, that's right, I remember hearing that. So what they're doing here is they're just getting you to say the word yes. And then later on, using editing software, which is extremely easy to use, trust me, they're going to simply put a different question in front of the word yes and then say, yeah, you agreed to buy office supplies, for example. So Ron Michaluk, who's a spokesperson with the Better Business Bureau of Central and Northern Alberta, which is Canada, says they're trying to get a recording of you saying the word yes. They're going to take the recorded yes, move around the audio, and make it seem to you or someone at your business that you have agreed to buy some advertising, a cruise, or a big ticket item, and they'll send you a bill. Now, if you get a bill for something you legitimately didn't order, and the fact that they simply have a recording that's been doctored to include the word yes, that probably isn't going to hold up in court. But they're also not planning on actually suing you for this. They're hoping that some people are going to go, oh, I must have agreed to it, or someone else in your organization will say, oh, he must have agreed to this, therefore we should pay this bill. The scam normally targets businesses in an effort to rope them into office supply purchases they did not order, but it appears the scam is now targeting consumers. Michaluk says they're going to call you back later after sending you an invoice, and then they're going to also send you one that's past due. And they're going to say that we can prove that you agreed to this. We have the recording, and they'll play the recording. He says some people will get scared and pay the bill. Reports of this have surfaced in both the U.S. and Canada. And I can tell you that when I had an office where I owned the copier, I had my own copier that I actually paid good money for. Now I've got someone else who's paying for the copier. It's another story altogether. The point is, I remember when I bought my copier and I owned a copier. I'm like, wow, I have my own copier. Hey, small things in life can sometimes bring joy like that. And the funniest thing was that, and I remember hearing about the scam, what happens is someone will call phone numbers at random looking for offices. And when someone answers the phone, they'll say, hi, we're from ABC123 Copier Supplies. What brand, make, and model of copier do you have? And if you say, why do you ask? They'll say, oh, we want to send you a catalog of supplies that we're going to try to compete to get the business for your toner cartridges or your paper or your widget grease or something. But we're going to send you some catalogs and brochures and literature about your copier. And you say, oh, okay. And what happens is they wait about 30 days, and then they ship you some overpriced toner cartridges. And if you have an office that's large enough, The boxes come in. Somebody goes, "Oh, the toner cartridges are here," and they go and put them back by the toner, back by the copying machine. And then somewhere down the road, someone opens it up, sticks it in, uses it, and next thing you know, you get a bill from these people, and the toner cartridge, which is normally like say $100, is like $300. And somebody realizes like we never ordered that, and then they give you a bill and they go, "Yeah, you must have because you used it, and here's the bill." And it's a scam. It's a scam. And so I remember having to tell my secretaries, and I had one faithful secretary for many, many years. She's brilliant. I loved her. Hey, Missy. And I remember having to talk with her and saying, by the way, if anybody calls and they ask for, what brand copier do you have? You say, we don't have one. We do not have one. And if they say, would you like to have one? It's different. But don't admit that we have a copier. And I remember her coming in and saying, we just got another call. Just got another call. It's a scam. Now, you might say, Steve, what about legitimate copier companies? Yeah, and there's also legitimate companies out there that want to help you build your credit and reduce your interest rate and get your extended service contract on your car. No. So many of these are scams that the people who are legitimately trying to sell toner cartridges just quit now, okay? Because your industry's been sullied by scams. So, anti-fraud agencies in British Columbia received their first round of complaints in 2017, noting that the U.S. had been inundated with the new twist on a phone scam that can be very tricky to avoid. Currently, over 70% of the scams reported to Scam Tracker in the U.S. are this scam, so they're hitting a lot of people, said Evan Kelly, a BBB spokesperson in British Columbia. Our Scam Tracker in British Columbia has just received the first few complaints, so we just want to warn the public that this is now starting to happen in our area. Some skeptics have questioned the validity of the scam, specifically whether the caller could authorize credit card charges in another person's name simply by acquiring a voice recording. To make the scam work, the caller would need additional personal and credit card information. But that's not how complicated it is. It's simply the matter they're going to call you, get you to say the word yes, and then later on they're going to send you something and go, you agreed to it. We have your recording. We called you. Do you want this? And we're going to charge you $500 for this thing. Do you want it? Yes. We sent it to you. Now you owe us $500. The Bureau hasn't been called by any complainants who would admit they've lost money with the scam, but has heard from many people who received the "Can you hear me" calls. We only recently have started to receive inquiries about the scam in Alberta, so there will be a time delay depending on how the information is used. This is the first case that we've heard of this with the scam targeting citizens and not businesses. Michulux says, we don't yet know where the scam will proceed to, and the best way we can educate people about any sort of scam is information. It's also about educating people on where and how their information is being used and shared online by various companies. He advised consumers to screen all incoming calls, report any suspicious activity, and ensure their names are added to the no-call registry, which in Canada, I don't know if it works or not, does not work in America. It's meaningless in America. If you believe you may have fallen for the scam, contact your bank and credit card companies to flag your accounts, file a scam report with your local business bureau office, and, that kind of thing. The best way to prevent being victimized is to simply hang up. If you don't recognize the number, don't answer. If you do pick up and they instantly start asking, can you hear me? Are you there? Don't say anything. If it's fishy, hang up. Don't fall for the trap. My brother was visiting me yesterday, and I had him in here, in the studio, in the inner sanctum, and I had him measuring this space right here because I wanted him to build me shelves, one set for each side. And he's going to be doing that as we speak. Soon those shelves will appear. While he was in here, I got a phone call, and I looked at it, and it was a scam phone call. And I answered it, and I talked my way through the first couple hurdles to get a live human being on the other end of the phone. And the guy said, hey, I want to talk to you about such and such. And I started screaming at the person until they hung up on me. And my brother just started laughing. He goes, who was that? A sales call. He's like, oh, because from the first half of the phone call, you sounded so normal. I said, yeah, that's how I handle them. So if they were to record that and play that back later and say, you agreed to something, I'd say, no, I think I was trying to ask you if you'd agree to something for yourself. So I used the word you a couple times, but I never said me. So my advice to you is if you get wacky phone calls, just hang up on them. Okay. If someone's trying to sell you something, if they came to your house or they called you, chances are you didn't need it. Otherwise, you'd be going to them or calling them. And if they are pitching something that sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And if you have any questions at all before you do anything, okay, ask around. This is a friend of a friend of a friend kind of thing, but someone recently told me that someone I know got scammed after responding to an email that had offered something. I can't go into it too much on this one, but when I heard the story, my first thought was, that's such an old scam. How could anybody fall for that? Well, just happened to get them at a low moment when they weren't thinking that well, and they were kind of hard up for something, and they thought that the email might be legitimate. And by the time they realized that it was a scam, the money was gone. And the money was gone. There was money, and it was gone. So these scams do work. And the only way to make them stop, if they call you, don't answer. If you do answer, make it to where they want to hang up on you. And do not ever give them anything, tell them anything, or say the word yes. If we've learned nothing else today, that's it. So the scams will continue, and I will continue to update you on them. Questions or comments, put them below. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching Lehto's Law. Mailing an entire building in the U.S. became illegal in 1916.